Okay, well, we're going to go ahead and get this started. We might have a couple pop in, but just to be respectful of your time. First of all, I want to just thank you for taking the time out of your day to come to the training. This is on the Student Educational Planner in the upgraded DegreeWorks environment. I'm going to show you how to log in. We do encourage you, after he goes through his overview, we encourage you to also get in there and he'll encourage you as well to use it. So that will trigger some questions so that you're ready to go, because this will be live. It's already accessible, but we will be switching the links over by Friday. So let me open my browser here. That the first one is through Portal Guard, which you can access on the homepage of the website or just by going to sso.imperial.edu. Click on login. And then for those that have two-factor set up, do that process, and there you have it. For now, to access it for this training, you'll want to scroll down and you'll see these dashes here, or I know there's a special name for those, but the line, those are our test environments or links that we intentionally push towards the bottom for sorting purposes. So you will see one that says DegreeWorks test responsive dashboard. That's the one that we're going to be going over today. So that's the one you'll want to click to access. For those that are typically used to using the banner.imperial.edu for access, the way to find it here is to scroll down to the very last tab. That's the banner development / testing. You're going to click on that. Scroll down until you see DegreeWorks 5.0.5 test. Make sure the parentheses test is there, not the PROD one. Once you click on that, it's the responsive dashboard. This way you can check out some students, you can build some plans, and it's not impacting the actual student record, which is why we're encouraging the test environment. And if you have any questions, you can let me or Abel know in the chat, and we're happy to help. But at this time, I'm going to turn it over to our awesome consultant from SIG, Dennis. Many of you may recognize him. We've used him before. He is a DegreeWorks guru and is going to take it away and show us what this new SEP is all about.
And by the way, hello again, everybody. I do recognize a whole bunch of names out there and faces, so it's good to see you folks again. What I'm going to talk about today is really a new interface. The things that we've done in the past, that you've done in the past with plans, or even just the audits and the notes and everything else, they're still going to be there, but the way you see them and the way they're displayed on your screen is going to be different, and that's really the only difference. If you've made plans for students or put in some plans, or if some of you may even have put in templates, those are all there still. The data hasn't changed, but how you manipulate the data and how you see the data, that's what's changed. And it's in what we call this responsive format. So it'll adjust to whether or not you have an iPad or an iPhone or a laptop or Android or what have you. And so it is kind of a new or is a new interface that students seem to like, and hopefully you guys will too. So I'm going to go ahead and log in. We're in the test system, as Melody was saying, and you can see at the top of your audit here that we're in the test system. So I don't remember when it got cloned from your production system, but it's not going to be as up to date as your current production system. So if you went in and put in a plan or modified a plan yesterday or the last few days, you won't see that plan here in the test system. Now, if you did it a couple of months ago, it probably will be out here. So just be aware of that. And same for if you know a student that maybe has registered for a class for the last couple of days, that class probably isn't out here yet. We'll talk about the dashboard itself more this afternoon and tomorrow with some training sessions. So I'm not really going to talk about it today. Right now, but we'll go into it in more detail if you'd like to come back this afternoon or like I said, in the morning. We're going to go straight to plans, and when we click on the plans tab, it should be very similar to what you've had in the past. when you click on the plans tab, the first thing I want you to notice is the student header follows you wherever you went. And you're going to see that all through the new dashboard. The student header stays there. So it looks different from what you currently have. And this is what I mean by the student header, this part of the screen right here. But it's going to stay the same whichever system you're in. So that's a new feature of this version of the planner. Now, when you first go into a student's plans, if the student already has plans, and you can see we've got a lot of plans out here that we've created over the last couple of days, and he already had some plans out here for him. I think it's a she for her, but you'll see that list. If the student doesn't have any plans, there would be nothing out here for it, and you just have to create a new plan. I'm going to go ahead and create a new plan for this student, just kind of walk you through that process and show you how to put in requirements. And then we'll go back and talk about some of the plans that already exist out there. So to create a new plan, you click on that new plan icon. And the first thing it's going to ask you is, do you want to use a template or you want to use a blank plan? Again, the templates are all out there still that you created in the past. And you would be able to access them from here as well. Let's just do a blank plan. And the first thing it asks you when you're creating a blank plan is what that starting term is going to be. So let's go ahead and put in spring of 2022, and let's create a blank plan for that. As before, you have to put in some kind of a description. Let's just say test, what's today, 10/21/21 a.m. And the degree of the student. This particular student has 2 degrees out there, so let's just use the Associate of Science degree. The plan types, it's going to be the same drop-down menu that you've had in the past, whether or not you want to select an abbreviated, comprehensive, or whatnot. Let's just say comprehensive. And then you've got check boxes for whether or not you want the plan to be active or locked. So let's save what we have here. And now you see the planner. And the very first thing you see is that you're in a whole new look here, a new interface. In the past, you had that the different views. There was the edit view and the calendar view and the audit view and the notes view. All those are now just replaced by this one view. Everybody goes into this same view. Now, so will students. Now, students may, I think you guys do not let students edit their plan, so they won't have all of these options to add courses to their plan, but they can, at least they'll see exactly what we're seeing here. So it starts out, we've got the top part of the plan is just information about the plan. Remember, we still have our student information up here, so you can see who the student is and what their information is. And then you see the information about the plan itself, what the degree was, what type of plan that we just put in, whether or not we have it's active or locked, and what's going on with tracking. If we want to modify the information about the plan, whether any of these items, we can press the pencil. The pencil is our modification icon, and you basically see the same thing we saw earlier, where we can change the name, change the type of plan, or lock it or whatnot. This small little grayed out icon is the notes icon. Just like before, you can have notes for the plan, the term, and then any requirement in there. Let's just add a note for a plan, note for the plan. And when we save it, the only difference we see is that the icon is now highlighted. Now, I'll tell you, and we've had lots of discussions about this, unfortunately with this version, and I'll try to tell you what I think are the good things and the bad things about this one that you're going to, compared to the one you're using now. And one of the things that I think is not good is that you have to actually drill down to see what the note is. It doesn't pop up while you're flying over it. So even the student would have to click on the note, and although the student probably can't add a note, they'll have to click on that to see what the note is. Then we get to the part where it actually has the terms and the courses. If you recall, in your current version, all of the terms are in kind of rows down the page, and it's a little bit hard to navigate. With this version, the terms are all vertically lined up. So let's just add a couple more terms here to show you what I mean by that. So let's say we add the fall term, and you see that on there. Let's go ahead and add one more, spring 2023. It's hard to say and imagine. So you can see how they're lining up vertically. Now you can enter courses or requirements or any of those things through several different ways. The first way is the plus sign right here for each term. So let me just click on this plus sign, and what it gives you is a list of all of your courses. Now we can use this drop down to disseminate what course we want to pick. So let's click on agriculture, and then you'll see all of the ag courses out there. You can click on a couple of these if you want. You can see how they're getting added here at the bottom of my page. And if I move on down, I'm going to add them to my plan. And there you go. They're on the plan. Now, one of the great things about this interface is it's very easy to move things around on the plan. So I'm just dragging that course and I just drug it over to this other term. You can move and drag anything around on the plan that you want to now. Also with the plus, you can show what courses are still needed. So when we click on the still needed course, it just lists all of the different courses and all of the areas that are still needed. So say we pick one of these electives, it does the same thing, it adds it at the bottom. And when you add to the plan, it adds to wherever I was when I pressed the plus button. Again, this is another one that I can move around at will if I'd like. So that's one method to add a course. Click on the plus button, and then you've got both your list of courses or your still needed. Now, if we click on one of these courses, it'll go out and give you information about the course. Now, while you're in the test system playing around, you're not going to see any sections at the bottom. You're only going to see the description and just the course title and all that. But once you go to production, you'll see the upcoming sections available for the course as well. Let's go ahead and cancel out of there. Now, the second way to add a course is through this group of menus here on the left-hand side of the screen. You can actually turn these on and off. When I press those three horizontal lines there, it turns off those choices. So if I want to get some more screen space, I can open those or open them up or turn them off. And that gets important. So let's go ahead and add one more term out here just to fill up our page a little bit. And so when we do that, now we've got a pretty full page. I'm going to to show you, I'm going to go ahead and add one more term. I'm going to sneak in a summer term here. And so now you see that the fall 23 term is off the page. But if we move our window bar down here at the bottom, you can scroll through all the different terms that are out there. So if we open that up, expand that again, we can see this is, there's really three different menu items that you can cycle through. One is just a list of all of the courses. And I'm going to press this next button, and it is a list of the different types of requirements. If you want to put a choice requirement in or a placeholder or GPA or anything like that, here's where you can do it. And then the third is that still needed again, and this is a list of all the courses that the student still needs. We'll go through each one of those individually here in just a minute. So let's start, and then again, I'm just cycling back and forth. You can see I'm just moving up, forward and backwards through these greater than or equal than signs. So let's start by, let's pick a course here. If you do the down arrow, that drills down into the different courses. So you can see all of the different ag courses that you have. The information button will, when you click on that, it gives you more information about the course. Again, in prod, that's going to be a little bit more, have a little bit more information than what we have here in the test system. And if you decide one of these classes which you want, you can just grab it and pull it over there. So say I wanted to pull it over all the way to the spring of, I guess, 2023, I would either have to have moved that over and dragged it like this, or put it in one of these other terms and moved it over and dragged it. So just something to be aware of. But again, very easily to drag and drop from the different areas. You can see all of the different courses are listed here. Let's just find another one. Here's an anthropology class, and we'll just drag that over. Okay, so that's the second way to add a course to a 2-year plan. The next way to do it is through this menu, or our list of choices, to where you can enter, again, a course if you want to. When you press that, it's going to ask you what term you want to put this in, and and then there's a lookup as to what type of class. And I guess I ought to go to something besides ag. Maybe let's try English. And when I sit there a second, it's actually going to pick up everything that starts with a, or has the letters E and G in the title or the course name. So here, picked up course small engines. I need to know about that. I've got a tiller that's not working, so that's a class I need to take. All right, and so you can see I just added that course, and here's my small engines class right there. So that's the course button. You can also add choice requirements. So say it's a this class or another class, or there's a wild card out there. We can enter that by pressing the plus sign, picking what term we want to put it in. And let's say we want to put in anything that's an English @ and we can put that in like that. And actually, when you type this, and I do want to make you aware that when you're using these choice requirements, pause for a moment. You can see and let the menu fill up below you. I'm going to go ahead and now just put in the @ and again, I'm paused for a second for that to come up, and when I click on it, then it gets added. With the choice requirements, just like in the past, you have to enter a valid number of credits. So here is the one I just put in. Now notice on the choice requirement, the color of that bar is different than the color of the bars for all of these. And that's just to help you disseminate that, okay, this is a choice requirement. And you see that's the same color as well. These are course requirements, and you can see the different colors up here. Let's put in another choice requirement. Let's just pick a couple of courses. Let's just say, maybe a math course. Or this is a good one, principles of accounting. So say we want to do that and another accounting course. Let's just make up one here. And again, this is purely made up, so this is probably not what you're going to have. And you can see that it's now either one of those satisfies that requirement. Now, one of the great things about this interface is you can actually move choice requirements around as well, which you couldn't in the old system. So if I wanted to move a choice requirement account, I just pick it up, drag it to whatever term I want to put it in. If you also wanted to put in any of these other items, I don't know if you guys have non-courses, but placeholders is always a good thing to put in. It's the same list of placeholders that you've had in the past. Maybe it's apply for the cap and gown or something along those lines. So, please see Melody about getting a gown, caps and gowns, something along those lines. And here is that placeholder, and you can see that it's now yellow with a yellow line, and that indicates that it's a placeholder. Again, those things can be moved around at will as well. Any of these things can be moved just by dragging it around. Okay, the final way to enter a requirement is really the way I do it more than any, and it's just using this still needed menu and this mini audit over here on the left-hand side, and then just drilling down and finding the requirement that needs to happen. So like, for instance, this student still needs a physical education requirement, English composition, and then some other items. So if I click on one of these, I can just continue drilling down and then dragging the course somewhere to put it on our list of planned courses. Now, once you drag a still needed class over, if you think about it, we're going to go back up the chain that we drill down in, and notice now PE is gone. So it automatically determines, we don't need a PE requirement anymore, but we still need an English requirement, and we need English 110. So when we drag it over, again, I'm going to go back and go back to what our still needed list is, and now English isn't there anymore. So you may have noticed that we don't have that audit view anymore like you used to have, in which many people would use as their view, where it had the audit on the left-hand side of the screen, and then the courses required, or the courses that you're planning, on the right-hand side of the screen. So you don't have that, but you do have this still needed link or window or menu, which I kind of like actually better. Now within the plan, you can also run an audit, and you do that by pressing the audit button. So let's press the audit button, and you see a new window is popping up, and this window is going to be our audit of the student, including the planned courses. So here is our student's information, and now we have our planned courses in the audit as well. Someone pointed out yesterday that they could, in lieu of not having that view that they had in the old system, you could actually take this window if you want, and drag it and do something along these lines. Maybe make this screen smaller, or if you have two screens like what I have, and then have the audit view over here next to it, and do something like that. And you certainly can do that if you want to. Okay. So that's how you can enter all the different courses. Now, again, like I said, you can collapse it so that you get kind of a better view of everything. You can also press this expand and collapse button right there, and when you press that button, it really takes your whole screen down and shows you your audit. So this student happens to, what is this, 5 terms, so it doesn't fill up any more of the screen. If I had 6 or 7 terms, I would just have to drag, move my window over to pick up all the other terms. I go back to where I was, and actually you can even enter courses in this view if you want, and not have all this other stuff at the top if you don't want to waste all of your space with all that other stuff. Let me take a breath for a second. Any questions, comments, thoughts, or anything?
Hey, Dennis. Good morning. This is Sergio. It's good to see you again.
Yeah, same here. How are you?
I'm doing well. Not as well as you. I'm sure you're thrilled with your Astros, but we're not losing faith yet.
Yeah.
I do have a question regarding the. It's nice in this new version to be able to drag and pull from semester to semester with these courses. But my question is does this new version account for an area of challenge that we've had in previous versions in DegreeWorks, where there is no timestamp when a plan is manipulated, right? Because part of our challenges as counselors, and you know this in your previous work too, is not every program has an assigned counselor. So there could be multiple hands in the pot. And it's not to the student's advantage or the counselor's advantage to work with the same plan, not have a timestamp, and we don't know who worked with the plan previously. So I'm just wondering if this new version addresses that challenge at all, or if we would still be probably benefited by creating a new plan for every new instance.
Yeah, good question. And no, it doesn't really account for that. You've still got that same problem. Now you can see, and I'm just going back to the plan list, you can see a date as to when it was modified, but that's as much as you get. And it's still the same old problem. The who is going to be who was the last person modifying the plan. So if you came into this student right now, you would see that it's me. I'm guest secure. That's who I am. That I was the person modifying it. But as soon as you, being Sergio, made any changes at all to the plan, even if you just made a minor title change, when you went back to the plan list, then your name would be on there and your date would be on there. So I would continue doing whatever process you're doing now in terms of recreating plans or that type of thing. Now, Sergio made one thing I failed to mention as I was putting in these requirements and doing all this thing. I want you to notice there is no save button on here, like there was with your old system. With the old system, as soon as you, if you wanted to get out of the plan, like say, go back to the worksheets, notice how it didn't ask me to save the plan or anything. It automatically saves it for you. That's a good thing, a bad thing. A good thing in that I was always forgetting to press the save button. So it'd give me that window. Are you sure you want to get out of it or do you want to save it? But the bad thing, and Sergio kind of brings this up, if I make a change, it's kind of like if you have automatic save on in a Word document, it's going to save it. And maybe you really meant to save it as a copy first. Instead of just, and you were going to make the changes and then you were going to save it as a copy. Well, unfortunately, now you have to do the save as copy first. And save as copy still works the same as before. It basically puts a new version out there. And so it sounds like, Sergio, that's kind of what I would do if I were you, is when you get in the plan, do a save as copy right away. But when you do that, make sure you change the description, or otherwise you're going to see two plans out there with the exact same description that you may not know which one you were working with. So.
Thank you, Dennis. So it didn't really address that previous issue. So we'll continue to operate as we have been. The other is more of a comment, less of a question. It may already be on your radar, but under placeholder, we won't want to add area F. That's new for the CSU system. I don't believe it's on there already. So we may need to add area F. Okay.
Just
CSU area F.
Yeah, just send something to Melody. She can update these guys. Remove, change, add, whatever you guys want to do on that. So just list a placeholder. So that's a good point, and probably want to shoot Melody an email. I know she's on the call. You may be taking notes, Melody, but Sergio is going to need that. Now,
I also have the recording, so it's all good.
Well, that's true. She's recording it as well. Now, we went into a great deal of discussion about notes on our other sessions, and just wanted to point that out to you. I mentioned it earlier that, see, when I fly over notes, all it just says is view notes. It doesn't actually give you, what is the note, what does it say, or anything about the note. They work the same. So you can put a term note in. Same thing when you add a term note. All it's going to do is change that icon to be highlighted. Same for a requirement note. Now, it sounded like yesterday that a lot of you guys use notes prolifically, and I'm a big proponent of notes, as I've said in the past. I feel like this is not. They didn't do a good job with notes. Again, all you can, when you fly over it, it just says view notes. Not really anything there. When we print it out, and I'll show you the printout here in a minute, which again leaves a little bit to be desired. But even the printout doesn't have anything about, what is the note? What does it mean? and so, and also the whole notes view, which I know yesterday one of the advisors, that was, he really liked using the notes view. So it wasn't out there. My suggestion on that is think about using placeholder as notes. You can see here I entered this as a placeholder. You can have a placeholder. Just make up one here. There's a comment, and if you guys want Melody to create one that says note or something like that, you can do that and say, this could be used as a note. And if you do it as a placeholder, and you can have as many placeholders out there as you want, then you'll see it. You'll see it here when you look at the view this way. Let me go ahead and show you what the printout looks like. It's not great. They are improving the printout, I will say that. And in the release that just came out, the print looks a little bit better, but you can see there's no notes in here as well, which I really surprises me that you can't see the notes there, but you could see the comment. But so that if that's something that you want to add in your repertoire, I would suggest using the placeholder as your note. Okay. So also, there's for each of the terms and of the requirements, there's this ellipses where you can either select any of these things that you'd like. More information is what it basically does is go out to the banner and bring back that course link information for every course that you have in that plan for that term. Then you can also obviously delete the whole term or reassign the term if you want. So if you wanted to, say, oh, the student decided not to come in spring of 22, instead he's decided to come in the winter of 22, you can do that and you can see how it got moved around. For each one of the requirements, there's also that ellipses where you can select more information, which is just like that information button that you saw over here on the left-hand side. There is a way to edit the requirement if you want to go in and maybe make it a critical requirement if you want to. Delete it or reassign it to a different term. Now, that's also available here in the both for the placeholder and for the choice options. If you wanted to edit this, you could do something like that. When you do more information on a choice option, it'll actually list every course. In this example, it was English at Science, so every one of the English classes is getting picked up and would list that. And again, whenever we are doing this, if you want to at any point in time take a look at the audit, you press the audit button and it pops up with a new audit. Now, I mentioned earlier that it opens up a new browser window. I do want to caution you in that if you're like me, sometimes you kind of forget where you are. You're looking at this, and then you accidentally close this window. I'm now just I have the planner audit up, but I can't get back to the plan, or I can't get back to the audits. I have to go through the whole login process again. And I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I find myself, that happens to me all the time. One neat thing on the planner audit, I always forget about this, but they do have a bucket just for the placeholders. So could, again, be a way to use that as notes. Let me go get logged back in again after I've deleted myself. Now, I mentioned earlier that it does pick up all of the plans that you've got created. Just want to reemphasize that. If you've created a plan and when you use some production, it's going to be, if you create a plan yesterday with the old system, you can pull it up today in the new system in production. Now, again, obviously in test, you can't do that, but when you pull a plan up, everything will be the same as what you created in the old system. The tracking works the same. You still got all the tracking icons and everything that you had in the past. And the courses will follow whatever tracking you had that were set up in the past as well. The icon looks a little bit different. They got rid of that red light, green light, I guess. And now I'd say just it'll actually say the words on track and off track. You can see all the list of plans out there. It's very simple. If you want to delete a plan, it's just basically you just click on one of these trash cans. Let me just delete one of these to try to clean this guy up a little bit. If you let's go ahead and just make a copy of this. This is the plan that got created before. Let's just save it as a copy. When you do that, it'll ask you, do you want to make the copy the current plan? So I would think that, Sergio, that's probably what you would be doing. So make the copy the active plan. And what it'll actually do is make the old version unactive anymore. Again, I'd probably go ahead and make some kind of notation on the description, just so that you know that this is the next version of this thing, or the active version. Although when you look at a plan list, if you did what I just did, you can see here, this was the one I copied from. It's no longer active. So that is one way to, you can just tell from that this is the one I created. What if works. What if looks a little bit different, and what if looks a little bit different in the responsive dashboard all around. Let me do that real quick. The functionality is basically the same. If you want to, it'll allow you to, to choose a different program or major. Let's just pick something here, and you can actually have additional degrees and majors as well if you want to pull those in. I'm going to press the add button and process it. We're basically seeing the planner what if analysis, and you can see the two different majors are out there, and you can see how he looks, and it'll include any of the planned courses. You can see here's that accounting class that I had planned, and it pulling that in. So thoughts, comments?
I personally really appreciated the ability to juxtapose on the audit view to see the student plan right next to the worksheets view. So that's a lost opportunity on my end right now. I may adjust to it, but it seems like the only two options are to, again, if we're using two screens, to do that, or to minimize them on one screen, or to literally just go back and forth between the plan and then worksheets. But that audit view was really nice. It
was. I know that it was quirky sometimes, and someone mentioned yesterday that you guys weren't having, some folks weren't able to move things around on it. You could only add, you couldn't add a new term. You could only move courses over on that. What I've found, Sergio, is that I started when I've been doing this, I've gotten to where I first of all, I'm in this still needed. I use that almost exclusively, and then the other thing is I just pop back and forth. I'll add a course, and then say something like this, and then run the audit real quick, and see what it looks like and close it. Now, obviously, I'm not talking to students every day like you guys are. But it's just a little bit of a change. Now we'll also say that I may have mentioned this already, but just say it again anyways. The print is not great, and it's pretty verbose and lots of white space. They have fixed the print in a version that just came out, so hopefully you guys will get that installed. It's pretty minor version. There's not a lot of improvements to it, but that is one thing that did improve, is the print. If I would say there's really kind of three things that I feel like are lost here. One is the print, one is the notes, and one is the audit view, like you were just saying. But in terms of when we've done focus groups with students, they really like, and we've really just done it with the worksheet itself, but they like this a lot better. Let me see if I can make my screen smaller. You kind of see what happens. It will adjust your screen. You don't have to spend as much time moving around on your, like in the old days, you really didn't have a lot of, like if you're on an iPad, it was kind of hard to see. The dashboard itself is really responsive to whatever device you have. So it'll allow you, and we'll talk about this more this afternoon, but it'll allow you to, like if I made my screen real small, you can see now that everything is real concise, and I can blow things up if I want. I can do that kind of drill down concept. So that's handy now. And then a big part of this is it's ADA compatible now. When you had all those colors in there in the past, even the icons, they were not as ADA compatible as this is. Okay, I haven't talked about templates any, and I don't know if any of you guys are doing the templates or not, but let me go ahead and just create a new plan using a template. All of your templates are still out there. And when you pull them up, you'll see a list of them out there. You do have to, the first thing you have to do is select a starting term. So let's say we're going to start with the fall, and then it's still the same requirement. If it's a fall template, if you're starting with a fall, you have to use a fall template. So let's just try this one right here. And then once you use it, once you open up that template and dump it onto your student, everything then is still the same. You've got your ability to move things around. If there's any choice items out there, you can move those things around. It doesn't look like this one has any choice items. But in terms of that, that's all the same. For those of you that are entering templates, I really struggled with the old version with the templates, because to me it was very hard to move things around in there. Now that with this version, it makes things a lot easier. You still got all this ability to drag and drop, even drag and drop choices, which really was, to me, a real problem with the old version. So like we've got this choice here. If we want to drag that to another term, I'm just going to grab it and drag it over. Very, very simple to do. The save as copy, change term scheme, that's all still out there for you. So to me, this is well worth it, having this better template interface. Again, there's no save button. It's an auto save. You do have to make sure that the template's active before everybody else can see it. But everything else basically works the same as with your current version of the templates. You can see here's the plan that I just created for this student with that template, and you can see everything on there. I kind of, when you do that, when you close all that stuff at the top, it's kind of nice that you don't, you don't have to. You get a little bit more screen space, I should say. One template that I've seen a lot of schools have some success with is just have a really generic template. Let me just create one real quick. And I'm just going to call it a fall start generic template. And all it really is just all of the fill all this out real quick. Just a blank set of terms and nothing else. So I guess I ag business for transfer. So if we did something like that, and just leave it at that, just like that, all the different terms, and that saves you from at least having to go in. So now when I go to a student and say I want to do a new plan from a template, let's just say fall 2021. So now when I create it, at least I don't have to go out and create all those terms. They're out there. And, then I can start dropping classes in there if I want to. So I didn't think of that or do that in real life, but, now, talking to schools, that might be an easier way to do it, instead of having a real specific courses. And maybe if you want to put generic classes in, if all your students are going to take, one math class their first semester or one English class, put that in there, but not put in all the individual courses.
You know what I have found that it's hard when I'm doing the plan. I don't know if other counselors have experienced this, is the fact that when I'm doing the plan, I I don't know if I have missed this. I don't know. I know that like what classes I'm gonna be recommending, but sometimes it's like I want to go back and verify. So I found myself opening 2 pages so I can go back and forth and be able to see, okay, I need this class, I already have them on my list. And did I miss that information on the page where I have it accessed there? And because before we could drop, like see the plan, see the classes that the student needed, and then the plan was there and I can just drop it. But now,
Yeah, take a look. It's over here in this side over here. And go to still needed, and that'll be the courses right there. And from there, you have to drill down. Use these greater than signs, but then you can drag across, and you can you can fill in the courses from here. And this will update itself. It'll do a refresh, kind of on the fly, so that you don't have to keep hitting refresh or anything like that. So eventually, you'll be able to pick up every course here. Let's see what else they're needing. I'm just going to see if I can mess around here enough to where I don't know what the requirements are here, but you see how I'm just continually drilling down, and you should be eventually able to pick up every course. And then when you run an audit, you can see how they fit in.
so that has been there all along.
It kind of, yeah. I mean, it was in the old system too, and now it's on the right-hand side over here on this side before. But you can see all these classes that I have planned. The extra step now is you have to, if you really want to see them, what they look like in the audit, is to press that audit. But yeah, it's called the still needed area, and it's just a drop down. This student looks like, if you looked at a student that had no classes taken so far, this thing would look just like their audit. It'd be all the classes required in their audit. Now, and I want everybody to see this, so I'm sorry to use you as a guinea pig, but
No, that's okay.
see how she's got now this dashboard at the top, and she's got a lot of windows open, and we're all like that. The very top there where you have your, and it's right underneath my little camera, but yeah, just make sure you go back to the one to the left where your mouse just was hovering, to go back. Yeah. So go to that one. That puts you back in the plan. Yeah. So just be aware of that opens up that new window there for you.
Oh, because we don't have the option to do the back button.
That's right. That's right. If you think,
so you have to like click back to the other one, the other page.
Right.
Okay.
Press, just to make sure I'm telling you right, will you go up a little bit higher and press the print? If you move your up a little bit more, press that printer icon. Let me make sure that it doesn't have his ID. Look at there. It just has his name.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, this is going to change here soon, but you may, if they need their ID number, I guess you'll have to keep putting their ID on there. So one thing somebody pointed out yesterday is your name didn't show up in the older version, but it does there now. If you can see that right in the middle, last update by you. So.
Okay. Well, I don't want to take up the whole time of everyone else's. Maybe other people have questions too.
Oh, no, good. No, that's great. All righty. If not any more questions, I guess I'll give you back an hour or so of your time. But otherwise, it was good at seeing everybody again, and we'll talk to you soon.